Hey fam, welcome or welcome back. Tisha here, welcoming you to the channel, the one and only T. My son told me to say that more, so I'm going to start to say that more. I haven't been saying it because I don't know if that's what I want the channel to be called. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16, episode 20, the reunion part 3. I said it for part 2, and I'm going to say it again. This did not need to be broken up into so many parts. It didn't. But I'm going to understand here that they did this because this is how much they said they were going to do, and they needed something to present to the network to make sure that they got those commercials in. Go ahead and do me a favor, hit the like button, or, if you haven't done so already, feel free to subscribe as we jump into this final recap for the season. So Portia and Shamia are still arguing. They're still going back and forth. Portia proceeds to talk about the issues that exist with their moms, claiming that both moms at one point were in the childcare business. Portia's mother had a daycare. It went into foreclosure. Shamia's mom must have saw it, found out about it, was told about it. I don't know, but she bought it. She bought her, Portia's words, best friends, see my quotes, best friends daycare. They found out not through Shamia's mother, but they found out because as they were driving past one day, they saw one sign being removed and they saw Shamia's mother's sign being put up. Is that messy? Yeah. But were they friends at the time? Because it seems like they fell out before this. Now, Shamia doesn't deny it, but she does point out that their mothers did not speak for years prior to this happening. So it's not like they were confiding in each other at that moment, that the issues go deep. But she doesn't want to go down that route because it's so much deeper than what Portia is saying. Now, Portia tries to say there's more. No one, including the other ladies and Andy, are really trying to hear all that. So Portia points out that she is the one, referring to Shamia, talking badly about her. Like Shamia is the one talking about Portia behind her back, that she's the one running her mouth left and right. She's the one taking it to the left where she's not. I personally feel like Portia isn't wrong. I think that the problem that Shamia isn't realizing is that Shamia took it upon herself to speak to various members of the cast, whether or not it was because they asked her questions or whether it was because she just volunteered the information. She opened up her mouth and she said various things throughout the season. You telling them things like Portia isn't showing up for you, or you feeling a way about, some things that transpired prior, that isn't you being open and honest with your friend. That's kind of you saying things behind your friend's back. So Portia's like, with that being said, before this show, our relationship was beautiful. I think that Portia felt like it was beautiful. I think Portia was good with the way things were, but Shamia hasn't been okay with it for a long time. And I think it's been as long as back when Phaedra said the things that she said about her. This problem has been under the rug, as Shamia puts it later on, that she pushes things under the rug, has been put under the rug for a long time. The problem is that Shamia often isn't truthful with her friend about her feelings, that she walks on eggshells when it comes to that she is hurt and she didn't come to Portia and tell Portia just how hurt she was. Instead, what she did was she suppressed it. So here you are now, and of course, Portia thinks everything's great because Portia isn't the one that was hurt at the time. Shamia was. So Shamia apologizes for talking to Angela and Drew. She says she should have had, I think she said at one point she should have had a third party there so it could have been relayed the right way. But she feels like they're the ones who went and told Portia what she supposedly said, that they said things that she didn't say. And Drew points out, like, look, we didn't ask you to run your mouth and say various things, right? But I feel like you said the things that you said. You made us pinky promise because at the end of the day, it was heavy on you. You needed to get it off your chest. And I'm not the one who relayed the information. So Angela's like, yeah, I relayed it. I think that Portia already knew that Shamia was saying things. And that's because she says there are two people in their personal friendship group, their personal friend group, meaning outside of this show, they have a group of friends, and two of them came to Portia and said that Shamia was walking around saying that Portia didn't want her on the show, that Portia didn't call to congratulate her about the peach and all these other things. We already know that Portia has shown on IG that she did send her a congratulations with flowers and a note attached. So I don't believe that she did not say congratulations. Maybe she didn't do it at the speed that she wanted her to do it, but she did it. At first I thought that Portia didn't want her to be on the show, and I thought maybe she was lying about it, but Andy kind of confirmed that that's not true, because Portia says it's not true. I did want you to be on the show. I've been advocating for you to be on the show. And Andy says, yes, it's true. They keep arguing. I don't really care about it. We get to the lies that Faye told, because Portia brings that up, and the kisses in the club with Candy, and how that Shamia felt like that all could have ended her marriage. Portia points out that, even with you saying all of that, you've been doing more interviews about me than I have been doing about you. And I've had way more interviews than you. And we're being asked some of the same stuff, yet I'm not talking about you the way that you're talking about me. Not once did I say things negatively about our friendship. I don't know how true that is because I haven't watched everything, but I do know that Shamia has said additional things about Portia on Watch What Happens Live. So I'm going to just go with Portia on that. But y'all tell me down below what that story is if you know. So Kelly wants Shamia to tell Portia how she really feels. She tells her, like, look, this is your moment. Portia's like, no, it's not her moment. Her moment would have been when we had our one-on-one, or when we were on the phone. I don't see how she could have had a moment when they had the one-on-one, because Portia, you were trying to leave. You weren't trying to talk about it. You were making faces. You were making noises. You left and went to the bathroom and started crying and doing it. She couldn't do it, right? Like, come on, let's not act like you really wanted to resolve it, because you didn't. You wanted her to push it under the rug like she always has. So, I said in my notes, the problem is they don't, solve anything. They don't resolve anything. Shamia says that when they had the one-on-one, she did think that they were good. Then after the one-on-one, Portia began to distance herself, and she felt even more like she felt like she did it even more once Londi passed, once her cousin passed. I wish she wouldn't have brought up the cousin thing, because of course she's going to push away during that time period because she's grieving and she's trying to process things. Shamia also felt that Portia showed whose side she was on, because she started hanging out with Britt and taking pictures with Britt and posting with Britt, making it sound to me like maybe, Shamia, you were a little jealous of that situation. And also you felt like your friend didn't have your back. So she says she wouldn't have even ever known that there was an issue if Cynthia didn't tell her, because Portia did not come and say anything to her. Portia, of course, isn't agreeing with what Shamia is saying, especially because the whole Kelly situation and Kelly and Shamia's friendship is brought up. And Cynthia just tries to be peacemaker in the situation. And she's like, look, you guys, the love is there, but the healing isn't. I don't want you all to get to this place where your friendship ends up getting thrown away. I personally feel like these two ladies have outgrown each other. I think that they did it a long time ago, and they're just holding on because of time. I have friends in my life that I have known since I was in elementary school, all the way up until college. And then, of course, I met other friends with my career and things of that nature. With that being said, there are friends that I have known since elementary school who will never know the amount of things that my friends who in college know about me. I have a friend, my best friend, G. I have been friends with G since we were in the 11th grade, complaining about having to move to the area that we moved in from, because neither one of us, I came from New York, he came from Texas, and we both hated it. Right? So with that being said, there are things that he is the only person who knows about me, and there are things that my friend, my other best friend that I've known for I don't know how many years, it's been less than 10 years, she knows that he may not know. That doesn't negate anything. And it doesn't make it that his relationship is better or means more to me than hers just because I've known him for so many years. I feel like people get stuck on time and they also get stuck on comparison. And that is the problem. It's okay. These two have known each other since high school, I believe, or maybe, yeah, I think it's high school. They've clearly outgrown one another. It's okay. I think that they should be done. Keep it cordial, keep it surface level. It's meant to be, you'll come back to one another. So Andy wants to know what they need to hear from one another in order to move forward. And Portia is tapped out. She's like, at this point, this is the hardest year of my life, and I don't have anything left to offer. I can't give anymore. Shamia lets it be known that that's the difference between the two of them, because when she felt that way, when she felt like it was beyond her bandwidth, she still dug in and she was still there for Portia. And that's your problem, Shamia, because no one is telling you to do that. Number one. Number two, Portia is not and has never not been, in my opinion, based on what I've seen on camera, the deep friend. Portia's not the person that I would go to for the heavy stuff, because a lot of what Portia gives to me, and y'all tell me your opinion, it's okay if you have a different one, but a lot of what Portia gives to me is surface level and is selfish. And I don't even think she realizes that she does it, but a lot of it is with how she was raised. And because of that, there's a lot of work to be done there. And I don't feel like she's willing to do that when it comes to your friendship. So Shamia says she just wants peace. Andy tells her that she has to figure out a way to vocalize her hurt, because if she doesn't, what ends up happening is it turns into this type of situation. You have to be able to address it in order to move forward. I do agree with Andy. She gets a little choked up and she says that she receives it. She knows that she does, handle things wrong sometimes, because she chooses to sweep things under the rug and just move past them because it's how she copes. And my thing is this, and he tells her that's the problem. Shamia, if you cannot tell your so-called best friend how much she hurt you, then it makes me wonder if you all were really friends in the first place. You need to get help, and you need to get it now. You have children and a husband, and to me, this doesn't sound like it's a healthy dynamic, because at some point, people are going to get tired of you sweeping things under the rug and not addressing issues, and then imploding the way that it seems like you are now imploding, or imploding the way it was when you decided to tell Angela and Drew things and Brit things about your friend. So we go from that to Drew's package. We know that Drew's mom spoke on the changes in kids' behavior. So Andy wants to know if there have been any changes for the good. Like, are the kids getting better? Drew lets him know that the kids have been put in therapy and it is helping. She says that she didn't see how bad things were. She thought it was just normal, like normal for her kids to act out here and there, until her mother pointed it out. I can see how she didn't see it. I think that Drew was going through a lot this season, and we didn't even really get into it, because Drew has this tendency to mask things or to act. And in moments where it would benefit her to be honest about stuff or to be a little bit more vulnerable, she does not. So Andy brings up what Ralph said about her mom needing to watch her mouth because he bailed her out after she spent up all her father's money. That's so low. It's so wrong to even bring up her parents. And to be honest with you, I don't really feel like what Drew's mother said was that bad. I really don't. So Drew's like, she felt like it was a new low, especially because of who her father was and how respected he was in Chicago as a pediatrician. I don't feel like who her father was has anything to do with it. In my opinion, it was low because it was wrong of him to talk like that about your mama. And it's another instance of this man having to point out what he did, like he did this and he did that, when if you really did it from the kindness of your heart, I don't feel like you need to bring that up. So the clip on IG of Drew and Ralph cooking together around Memorial Day is brought up. Drew said that it was just a co-parenting moment, but what Ralph did was he took that moment and he made it something that it wasn't, without, like, by saying under the caption, like, she still calls me daddy, or whatever it is that he said. And that's the problem that I have with Drew. You keep on providing moments for him to play you. Like, stop letting him in. Co-parenting doesn't mean that you have to hang out in the kitchen and cook together. That's not what co-parenting involves. And I'm talking from somebody who tried different things in order to co-parent. We used to do what we called a family dinner, where we would take our son, I'm saying my son, we would take our son out to his favorite place to go eat food, and we would talk and things of that nature and do things centered around him. To me, that was enough. I don't need to go in the kitchen and cook for you and with you in order to show our kid that we're going to get along for the sake of them. I feel like Drew allows him too far in, and she doesn't realize that a lot of times he's just using it for a moment to then come and show, like, oh, she says this, but really it's like this, y'all. Which is why he says later on that she acts differently off camera than on camera. So Cynthia thought it was cute. I didn't, as did some of the others. A viewer asks why Drew and Ralph can't speak on the divorce situation to the kids, and Drew says it's a court order. You can look it up. It's there. It's in the order. Portia does agree and says that that does happen, that a lot of times it's kind of like put to a halt. She says if the judge says that you can't say it, then you can't say it. And it's the same thing that happened with her and her ex Cordell. Like, there were things that, they couldn't do, or decisions that couldn't be made until, things were finalized. So Drew speaks on Ralph having women in the basement. She says that they live in a gated community, and she says she saw the manifesto, and it had, I guess, that this woman was visiting Ralph. At some point, she then saw the lady at, the kid's school, and the lady approached Drew. I don't even see why we had to know all that, but whatever. So we get another question asking why, with Portia and Drew going on, having divorces going on, that they noticed that everybody was there for Drew, and no, not for Drew, for Portia, and very few people were there for Drew. And I felt the same way. Kelly then says that she had hoped that her and Drew would hit it off. And Angela's like, no, you didn't. And I said, thank you, Angela girl, because you never tried to hit it off with Drew. Drew's like, look, I appreciate you saying that, but you never gave me a chance. You called me a liar. You would throw different things out there. And I kind of feel like you were looking for a moment. Kelly's like, well, the reason why I called you a liar is because you did lie about your purchase at the event. You didn't make a purchase. Drew explains, like she said before, that she did order something from the shopper because they didn't have the size that she needed for her son. But the problem is it wasn't on the day. Kelly's like, it was supposed to be for charity. Mia adds that, you need to buy something on that day because that's how the money would go to, the charity. And I feel like all this required was a simple explanation. Drew's like, Kelly, all you had to do was talk to me, and we could have tried to figure out a way to make sure that my purchase did go towards it, but that's not what you did. I just don't know why Kelly wouldn't find out the stipulations and let Drew know, or maybe if they could have worked that out. Drew, I just feel like it's not that big of a deal. Obviously, Drew wasn't lying. She did buy something. It just didn't go towards the charity purchase. Next, we talk about Drew saying that her album would help PJ pay for college. And Portia's like, look, when I saw the scene, it wasn't as bad as Shamia made it seem. It was cringy to me, but it did not piss me off. For her, the problem was that Shamia relayed the info with stank on it, right? Basically, that's what she's saying. She put some stank on it. Um, she didn't deliver it to her the way that it was really said. Now, Shamia, of course, is still acting like she didn't do anything wrong, and that it was a slick comment and all those other things, and that next time she just won't say anything. Well, Shamia, you should have never said anything in the first place. It wasn't that big of a deal. She clearly didn't mean it. The only person who took it away was you. So Shamia claims she's going to keep her mouth shut, and Drew basically tells her, like, yeah, that's what you should have been doing anyways. We get a viewer question about Portia going to dinner with Ralph. Uh, Shamia said that since they kept calling her a lap dog, she decided to act like one. And that's why she, extended the invite. She was being a loyal friend. We get a viewer question about Ty, wanting to know how long Drew was on the phone with Ty. I don't care about this. Think they said 3,000 minutes. Drew is never going to be honest or transparent about this situation, about what type of relationship they had. And here's my thing. She can admit to flirting later on because I think they said she admitted to flirting with her later on. Um, Either way, there's a reason why she's not telling what she needs to tell. We already know that her family may have a problem with it. And I just don't feel like talking about someone in that manner or outing them possibly if it's a thing where she is interested in the same sex. I don't like when that stuff is done. But then part of me also, Drew, I can't stick up for you when you then make little comments like about Portia and saying stuff about Portia liking girls too. So we hear that Ty is just a friend, as is Black, because there's a question about him too. She then ends up saying that, he's number one in hookah sales or hookah product, whatever. I don't know. So she hands out some type of hookahs for the ladies. Drew says that when she gets a boyfriend, she'll definitely bring him on the show. Portia adds, or girlfriend. Drew says, nope, that's you. Portia agrees and makes it known if she's to find somebody like that, she will definitely be right on that stage. And I just good comeback. It didn't get nasty. They were laughing and stuff about it, so it was okay. I'll tell you this much though. If Portia were to come back with Ty, I would fall out because when I say that would be good TV, that would be good TV. Ty, you might as well come on this show, girl. You've been hopping around on you were on Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta. Now you on Basketball Wives. I don't know where they're at because I don't watch it. And now you can come back to the Real Housewives of Atlanta and actually, make an appearance. So come on here, girl. Come back. Show your face again. So the men hit the stage. We find out Gerald was invited, but he is at home with the kids. Sitters aren't his thing. Here's my thing. I put sitters aren't his thing. I put sitters aren't his thing. It's clear that he didn't want to be there. I said, Shamia, you already let us know that you have an agency that provides childcare for the kids. Because remember, he called to complain about how the nanny threw the child down and had her laying in there without covers and all those other things. So just tell the truth and say that he doesn't want any parts of the show. So he didn't show. But Charles did. And Charles adds that he's there to support his wife. We hear from Dennis. Dennis claims that he talked to Portia and Ralph about working with Drew, that when he spoke to Portia, it wasn't deep, but that he did tell her. Portia 1 minute says he did, 1 minute he didn't. Either way, she's saying now that he didn't. He felt that it was Drew's place to handle the woman's side of things. Drew says that she did try. Portia doesn't feel like you texting her here and there is her trying, that you should have just came out and said exactly what it was. While Drew was like, I wanted to have an actual conversation with you. And Dennis said that he did it. So I just thought he handled it. We then hear about the whole sleeping with Drew thing. He said that he never was trying to sleep with Drew, that Ralph is a friend, so he wouldn't do that. Then we talk about the text message, him saying that he was trying to get some money, not F. They're acting like they don't understand what he was saying, and I think that she was trying to say that she doesn't want to be messed over, and he's not trying to mess her over. Ralph said that he saw the text, and it's exactly what Portia said. Ralph then says that Drew did tell him that Dennis was trying to talk to her. Drew calls him a liar, asks him to stop lying. Both Ralph and Drew do lie, but I think that Drew's telling the truth on this. I don't have her saying that. Of course, she was like, Dennis isn't her type. And Portia was like, Black ain't that attractive either. She didn't say he wasn't attractive. She said he wasn't your type. So Ralph is cheesing while he's lying about not being a liar. Andy asks if Dennis sees himself getting back with Portia. Dennis says, she's back on the market now. So, who knows? I think if Dennis wasn't such a cheater, they would have already gotten back together. It's clear two of those those two still like each other, and Portia still has a thing for him too. He's asked about the ladies. He admits to dating Britt and giving her a necklace a long time ago. As for Kelly, he don't know what Kelly's talking about because it was business. I don't even understand why Kelly mentioned it. Kelly did put sauce on it and make it seem like it was more to it. But now, as she's sitting on the stage, she's saying like it was a DM. They talk on the phone and it was about business. So we get to Ralph. He says that just because someone came in through the gate doesn't mean that they came to the house, that it was about fitness things and some fitness content. Him and Drew are cool when the cameras are off. She loves him, but when the cameras are on, it's a different story. I wonder why. You keep on doing things to her that show why she has to switch it up on you, because whenever she lets you in, you backstab her or you betray her yet again, because you releasing those text messages and the details of them and the screenshots and all that and putting it on various forms of social media. I don't understand why you wouldn't think she would feel a way about that. So he claims he is supportive of her and he loves her. That's a lie. And I just don't like, y'all need to just hurry up and get a divorce so we don't have to see Ralph anymore. Drew said that what he's saying is great, but she needs to see action, especially after the things that he put out on social media. Ralph just wants the mama out of the marriage. He's like, men go through stuff as well. Men go through stuff as well. You didn't say you. Later on, you try to say like you were hurting, but you said men. He's fake. He can't believe that they're in this place now. He was looking back at old messages and he just can't believe that they're where they're at now. Portia gives him advice and tells him, like, look, the best thing I could say is that the both of you all have to work on your feelings aside. Put your feelings aside for the sake of the kids. Her and Dennis had to do that even when it came to the moms and stuff, because you got to temper what you say for the sake of the kids. I did agree with what Portia said. Portia said Ralph does need to apologize to Drew's mom, because her mom, that's the grandparent to his children, and also because the role that mothers play in their children's lives, right? She used the whole point of, do you know how much a mother is there for a daughter when she's going through a divorce? Because Portia can relate to that. Cynthia adds to also be mindful of what you put on social media because it pulls everyone else in. I feel like everyone needs to be mindful of that. The problem is Ralph will say one thing and he'll do the opposite. So we get to Charles. I enjoyed Charles a lot. So Charles said that he didn't watch everything, but he watched the stuff that Angela wanted him to watch. He thinks that Angela did well. With him, what you see is what you get. He understands that people think things about him, but he is not the type of guy who's going to put on for the cameras and fake it for TV. I'm not mad at it. He said, if I didn't love Angela, I wouldn't be with her. She knows that. She knows I love her. I have not been hiding my marriage. The women on the show don't know me, yet they keep speaking on me. Shamia says that she met him at a wedding. He says, you didn't meet me. I was just there. You didn't meet me. Andy asked Charles, do you remember meeting Phaedra? He was like, no. Faye says, I've been in several rooms with you. Charles says, what rooms we been in? We could have been in the bathroom. I laughed when he said that. Charles lets it be known that being in a room with him is not equivalent to meeting him. Faye says, I know Sheree very, very well. And I remember when you two were a couple. He's like, all right, we were a couple, okay? She's like, so I've been in your presence numerous times. That was back in 2000 when he dated Sheree. According to him, it was for a few years. Charles said, just because you know Sheree doesn't mean that you know me. I agree. Angela says that Faye kept saying that she did know Charles and that she did not know Charles was a married man and that she was a secret and that was her being shady. Phaedra tries to act like it's not a big deal. Phaedra, you were being shady. It's what you do. That's why they have you on the show. Charles wants to know why they so concerned about him. Why y'all want to know about him? Where they husbands at? I'm the only husband here. He's like, Google will tell you that I've been married for 10 years. Angela corrects him and says it's 11. And I just wrote in my notes, clear the room, sir. clear the room, let them know. Shamia was like, well, my man is at home. We then talk about Wendy Williams and the whole baby thing that had nothing to do with him. Then the Madison Square Garden event. Charles said that they went through a rough, time because of that. We find out that they separated momentarily. He wanted to be outside. They lived apart. They went through to therapy in 2017. It helped because he was finally honest about some things with Angela and he was able to open up more. He is glad that Angela stuck with him. That is his way of being thankful for Angela. See, with Charles, you got to listen to the stuff in between because he's not overly affectionate and things of that nature. But there are moments where I see glimpses of, okay, maybe he does care. Kelly, Andy's like, does anybody else want to ask the men anything before they leave? And Kelly asks Ralph what her ex-husband said. Ralph said, we just had a conversation about your divorce. That's it. Kelly gives him kudos for taking care of his kids. And I just don't feel like they should get cool points for that because Drew's thankful for it too. Just like whatever. Y'all be thanking these guys for the bare minimum. So the wrap up is Drew is happy that her and Portia are in a better place. Kelly is going to be more careful about who she befriends, and she hopes that Shamia and P, her words, rekindle things. Faye says, it was a wild 2 weeks. Grenada was her second best trip outside of Africa. Angela is grateful for this platform and the opportunity for her mother to be filmed so that her mother can be in other people's homes. Cynthia is thanked for being a good friend to the show. She says that she appreciates the respect and grace she was given. Shamia wants to be more open about her feelings and build alliances with all the ladies. They talk about that. Portia hates the way that this season ended, but she says it has been transformative for her. As far as Shamia, she still will love and cheer for her. It was a learning season for her. And then the next thing you know, she's like, you weren't at the party, Andy, and I know you want to dance with us. So I got some fans. Bring where them fans at. And they bring out fans and they dance with Andy, and Andy does his version of a twerk. And that is it. Y'all, thanks guys so much for watching this season. For those of you who are only here for the Real Housewives of Atlanta, I encourage you to go ahead and check out some of my other content. I am currently reviewing Love and Marriage Huntsville. I'm reviewing season 7 of Welcome to Plathville. I'm finishing up season 1 of Welcome to Plathville. I also am reading Section 132. That's a book about polygamy. It's actually really good. I'm enjoying it a lot. My numbers are low this time around for my book, but it's fine. I'm still going to read it because, I have some fam that is loyal to the book section. I also am going to do a review of a movie that I just happened to watch the other day at work. I do not know what my schedule is going to look like next week because my birthday is on Sunday. And if I can't get enough recording in this week, then I don't know how much content I'm going to have out because I'm actually going to take some days off to just like not be on YouTube. At least I'm gonna try. But thank you all so much for joining me. Let me know what you thought overall of this season. What's your rating? I'm gonna give it a 3 for the whole season because they started off on a high and then they fell flat. So it's average to me. But put your thoughts and comments down below. Until next time.